a sunny day, Dagmar SIMDORN likes to walk her dog on Bernauer Straße. It's a simple pleasure she was denied for much of her adult life, because this was where the Berlin Wall once stood, guarded by soldiers with orders to shoot to kill.
In
everyday life, the wall played a role in that it was just there. It stands before you if you're standing in front of it. You just had to accept it.
August 1961, the height of the Cold War, when communist control of the East drove many thousands to flee west, using the open border in Berlin, causing a brain drain the East felt could not continue. So they built the wall, separating families and friends overnight. And when the first bricks were laid here, rows of houses were blocked off, meaning those who wanted to get out had to jump from the upper windows onto the street in the west. But as the wall became more solid, soon that avenue of escape was blocked off. And what became known as the death strip divided the city. And so people had to think much more creatively about how they could flee communism. People like HUBERT HOHLBEIN. As a young man, he swam across a guarded waterway to reach the west, and then decided he wanted others to be free too. So he helped build a tunnel under the center of the city. In all, 57 people crawled through this space to freedom, including his own mother.
It was a tremendous feeling taking part in possibly helping your relatives and friends come over, but at the same time it was a strain, because I had only just survived the border crossing myself and thought, man, if something happens to me here, then it's twice as bad.
Something did happen to VOLKER HEINZ. As a student, he volunteered to help people flee the East, bringing out dozens of refugees over several months, using a car with diplomatic plates and adapted to allow people to hide from view. But then one day, he was caught.
They had all the evidence they needed. They had the diplomat, which they confronted me with. They had the escapees who didn't make it. They had the car. I mean, what else is there to deny?
In the end, the two German governments agreed a prisoner swap, so VOLKER spent less than a year in custody. As time wore on, most people grew used to the ugly grey barrier that divided the city. But then, in November 1989, came the moment many thought might never happen. A wave of peaceful protest swept through the city, and because the Soviet government would not help, the armed guards stood powerless as people partied on the wall and then finally tore it down. Very little of what the East German government called the anti-fascist protection barrier still remains. Many Berliners are too young to know firsthand what it was like to live in a divided city. For those like Dagmar who do, Saturday will be a poignant day. Dominic, Kane, Jazeera, at the Berlin Wall Memorial.